All right, boom. Test one more time. Word. All right,
What's up?
what's good? We're here, back
Episode
again.
3, yeah?
Yeah, third time. I think they got better each time. So let's see if we can keep the streak going.
Did you watch the second one yet?
I got like it's like 3/4 of the way through. I didn't finish it.
When I was going back through it, I felt the conversation of the second one. I wouldn't say it was per se better, but I think it was a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
I found myself more engaged rewatching it
Mm.
instead of skipping through it looking for the spots to edit. I just
Okay.
sat there and watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely felt more engaged. I was watching back when I was doing the thumbnail for the first one. I was watching it back, and the first one really just starts off no context. I just start listing off Studio Ghibli movies, like no context. Like yeah, but no, yeah, I definitely think it's coming together. I like the thumbnail, and then I use the thumbnail as like the logo on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing the shorts for it.
Yeah, I thought the thumbnail came out nice.
Yeah, feeling good.
You're going to have to show me before I leave.
Oh yeah, I'll show you the template and stuff. Yeah, and I'll give you the login for the Adobe, which we'll have to fight over, just like the Black Magic one.
I use it significantly less than you,
So,
so
yeah,
it's
me and
okay.
Steve fight over the Adobe one already, logging between the three computers. But yeah, you brought up the Art of War book, and then you brought up because you
Marcus
got the
Aurelius.
book, the Art of War, sitting on my desk. Which shout out to Logan. I mean, I've listened to the audiobook of the Art of War. So look at us getting better with addressing the subject. I've listened to that book before, but then Logan called me in his office one day, and I was like, "All right, what is it?" And surprisingly, he was like, "Got a gift for you," and then just gave me that book. He was like, "I ordered one, and they sent me two, so here you go."
It was, when I was here Monday night or something, Tuesday, we went and looked at the building on Wednesday. So Tuesday I was here and I saw the book on Logan's table in his office. I tried reading it once, but I'm not a reader and getting a little into it just didn't hold me.
Yeah, I mean, even me now, I would say like I am a reader now, which I never was, and I would say I am now. Like I started going through it, and it's just like I'm not picking up on it as much as like the other books I'm reading have. I just finished my last book and started another one. Um, it's good. It's good. It's a really good coffee table book because the way it's laid out. It's just like short paragraph, short paragraph. It's not like a book layout. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
nuggets of information. But it is interesting to picture like it's cited as like one of the most like read like military science books like for like structure and war, and like all the major generals have read it and like sworn by it. So it is interesting. But like I don't, maybe just because it doesn't translate to my life super directly. Like like the books I read, it's like I see how this can like translate over and I can use it. But this is like direct, like when you're in war with somebody, these are the strategies. And I'm like, this, I'm not like, I see how Logan resonates with it because like business, it kind of goes with it. But like, I'm reading it like, I'm just trying to make some videos. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Again, I didn't read it. When I was looking for books to read a couple months back, it was one of the ones on my list that I wanted to try and read. I think I have the audiobook queued up on my Spotify somewhere. If I go to read it, that's probably how I'll end up doing that one. But I mentioned Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and that one is like highly regarded. That one you'll probably resonate with more than Art of War. Marcus Aurelius was this. I just looked it up. It's like this. He was like the 16th Roman emperor, and he was a philosopher, I think is what it is. And I read maybe a third of the book, and I haven't really picked it up since. But much like this one, it's smaller paragraphs because my recollection is it's a combination of a handful of journals that he wrote. Probably started before he was emperor. I want to say is when he was younger, and then through parts of his reign. I don't recall much of the backstory. I think I have bits and pieces, but I don't want to get it wrong, so I won't really like talk on it too much. But that one's cool because it's more on the philosophy side of things as opposed to just like pseudo strategies for war and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that the meditations might resonate with you a little bit more. I have the book at home, so if you do want to read it, I'll just give it to you.
Oh, yeah, even the actual book, yeah, I'll go. I mean, yeah, I just started my next book, but it's a fucking thick one.
Yeah,
But-
the meditations is about the size of that one. It might be a little bit bigger, but it's cool because I ended up buying it because maybe it was TikTok or Instagram or something. I kept seeing like snippets and quotes from the book, and uh, he leans into the philosophy side of things heavily, which I think a lot of the books that you ended up reading kind of lean into philosophy. I
Yeah.
think philosophy and theology is really cool to like learn about and read
Mm.
about and that kind of thing, because it's like I don't have specific quotes off the top of my head, but he like leans into like how not to stress over things and to like take things one step at a time,
Mm.
and like you know, like how to be a man with that. Like you don't have to be like hyper masculine and stuff like, but just like the art of silence and these
Yeah.
kinds of things, which is really
Nah.
cool. It'll make you think as like a. I'm sure it resonates with the female audience too, but I think it's more of a male audience style book. So I think it'll resonate more deeply with you and the male audience and yada yada yada. Um, but yeah, that's a very highly recommended book. I think there's a couple of them that I don't, I wouldn't say that he wrote and published, again, because it was like, he was born in like year 165 or something, like way
Oh
back.
yeah, so it's probably just like a collection, like you said, of like the journals and stuff, and just like the
Yeah,
notes he kept. Interesting.
it's very interesting. I have it sitting usually on the side on my bedside because it's one of those things where because they're so small,
You can just pick up, kind of read
read
a
through like a
couple.
little
Yeah.
section of it and then put it down.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool from what I recall. It's been a while since I was reading it. It's been a while since I read really anything, but yeah, they're pretty cool books. Again, I mean, going back to like our previous conversations and all that, philosophy always kind of draws me in because it's like people of old sitting down and thinking and like pondering on things and like
Hmm.
writing things down and in ways that kind of can be translated across time, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's a little bit less on the whatever's going on in the moment. Like if you were to be like a modern day philosopher, you wouldn't be writing about like Apple and iPhones or
Yeah.
computers. It would be more of like in present time there's a lot of saying anxiety and depression, and a lot of it probably stems from technology, so it's like writing words down in a way where it's like helping the readers understand the like the ins and outs of these things,
Hmm.
anxiety and depression and all these things, and how one, I don't know if like should is the right word, but could kind of work through a lot of it. My brain draws the conclusion, draws the like a line towards the saying of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, or
Yeah.
you can give a man a fish, but teaching him to fish
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
significantly better or
Yeah.
whatever. It's things like that. So
Yeah, like
I found it cool.
ideologies that can kind of apply in any
Yep.
at any time period. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I definitely recommend if you need something to read at some point to go through it, even just a little bit.
Yeah, I could definitely. I mean, yeah, I could add it to the list. Like I said, I started. The one I just started was, let me see, because I've had like a stack of books.
Are those the up there on that shelf, the ones that you've read?
Yeah, the ones up top.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones up top, which are on my camera, are the ones I've
Uh,
already read. And then I actually just finished. There's, I think I'm the book I'm reading now is actually the last of like I used to have a stack over there of like the books I wanted to read,
mm-hmm.
and I finally like hadn't bought any new books because I was like I want to read these, so I got to go through and read these. Um, and the one I just started is actually the last one that was on it. The one I just finished, although I added it because Logan suggested it. It was The Tipping Point, which I think it was really interesting because it talked about. Here, I'll grab that one before I do this one. I never heard of it, but Logan suggested it, and like Logan's not has never suggested a book to me before, so when he did, I just immediately ordered it without even looking into it. But it talks about like the tipping point, like how to make what makes things like the whole thing's about like epidemics, like how what makes things like epidemics kind of start and like take over, and not just like you think about like a disease as an epidemic, but like they reference a lot like the crime epidemic in New York,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was like it wasn't like out of nowhere like a bunch of people just moved to the city and crime started, like how to and then it just randomly like stopped, and it wasn't like a bunch of people just moved out or like anything changed, like what tipped it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it talks about like so like a disease. It talks about when like Blue's Clues came out, like it took over like that, and like
Yeah, I see what you're
why
saying.
did that show take over? Like because these little things they talk about how there's like different kinds of like there's like in different epidemics there's like different kinds of people. They talk about like Paul Revere, which I didn't know until I read it that they were saying how when Paul Revere did like we all learned about Paul Revere, the British are coming like
Yeah, yeah.
there was another guy I don't know his name, but like that did the same thing Paul Revere did, just in a different direction. But nobody knows about him because his wasn't successful. But when the army went through his area, they ran through it. Versus Paul Revere, he went through and he started an epidemic and the British got kicked out.
Interesting.
And
Very
it's like, why
interesting.
did Paul Revere's do it versus why this guy's didn't? It was just like different stuff, like
Huh.
because Paul Revere is like fits this one category where he was connected with a whole bunch of communities versus this other guy like he wasn't, so it just didn't resonate. Like different reasons why
Interesting.
certain things kind of
I didn't even know
connect.
that. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
didn't know either. But the whole point was like you don't know about it, and this is why we think because,
Maybe I have to give that a look.
yeah. I mean, I really liked it. I read it. That was probably the fastest book I've read through was that one, and it reads really easy, which I also find is like hard because a lot of the books I like don't read super easy. Like
Hmm.
they're like the philosophy ones aren't like if I was just reading like a narrative book, it reads a lot quicker. Like you can go through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I just finished that one, but this was the one I just started. It's called Make Your Team a Winning Team. Make yours a winning team. And I thought it was gonna I just started. You could see like a little bit. I have the one book cover is kind of where
Hmm.
I just started. I've had it for a minute. Somebody gave it to me like years ago, and it's just been sitting there. Because I thought it was just gonna be like a straightforward like these are the strategies to be a leader and like to have a good team. And like literally in the opening, it's written by I think a minister or a pastor, and it's really like a religious book talking about like how to like implement like God and stuff as a leader into it. And I didn't know it
Hmm.
was gonna be like a religious book until I opened it up and started reading it. It's actually two books put together. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like two books combined. But I just started, and immediately when I opened it, I was like, "All right, so let's learn about being a leader." And then I was like, "Oh shit, this is like not what I thought it was. It's like a real like a really like God driven book." And then this day, like this is just when I carry around logging me one. It's like it's kind of like I guess it's more of like a philosophy one, but it's really just like a prayer book.
Okay.
But it's based around it's like based for men. It's like promise and prayers for men. It's just kind of all about like being a guy, and then like like every it's like I don't know how many days, but it goes just by days. Like it's like day one, um, it'll be like what's it called? Like I can't even think of like what a chapter, but it's like not like chapters, just like day one, and then it's like two pages of just like this subject matter gives you a prayer related to that subject matter, and then like a quote from somebody famous relating to it, just kind of like implementing like God, and then like different struggles, like kind of like the one of the chapters was about like as guys we feel like we always have to solve everything, like we have to supply for everything, and like we have to do this, and like it's not on us, it's on God, and like to have God in your life because it's not fully on you, and like as a
Hmm.
guy I like it because like as a guy it like really translates well. It's not just kind of like overarching things. It feels like it's like talking to you because it's like struggles as like being a
Interesting.
guy like that like men face,
You have a
or
fucking book
like
merchant
not
over
being
here.
able to like share your feelings because guys you can't share your feelings, you just got to be quiet and just deal
Yeah.
with it, and like but it's a like it quotes it all to the Bible, so
Hmm.
it's really dope.
That's pretty cool. When you were saying with guys being like quiet and stuff, it made me think like the Marcus Aurelius thing leaned into stoicism,
Yeah.
and
Oh, maybe that's why I've heard his name. I think there's an Instagram page I follow that like just posts his
yep,
quotes, and it's all about like it's just like a stoic.
yep,
Yeah.
stoicism. Like that might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back for why I ended up buying the book, because
Mm-hmm.
I think stoicism, the way that stoicism is supposed to be like implemented in one's life, is I think it's a really good quality to have,
Mm-hmm.
like for anybody, but guys, for in men, I think it's a really really good quality to have. It's like a lot of people think stoicism is just being quiet, but it's like being able to keep yourself grounded and work through the troubles of life, essentially, um, without like pulling your hair out and losing your mind, type of thing. Um, and at the time when I ended up buying the book and couple years ago. I think in my pursuit of like spiritual growth and personal growth and development and um, the idea of stoicism like really like stuck out to me. It was something that I kind of wanted to implement within myself more, and I didn't finish the book, but I think that I've done a pretty good job of integrating a decent amount of the idea of stoicism into me.
Mhm.
And as someone who's I think that my fuse is I have a short fuse. um I think that it was a little bit harder for me to implement it in various aspects, but because I have such a short fuse, I think that it was
Oh, that true right there.
um because my fuse is so short, I almost like idealize the ideas of stoicism and stuff, and I
Okay,
wanted to
yeah,
like implement it in various aspects of my life, whether it's like human relationships or it's like like earlier today I was trying to do something. I'm editing a video and I wanted it to do a certain thing and get certain clips from a couple episodes from a show, and every way that I was trying to get the clips from the show, I was unable to get the clips, and it was like pissing me off. So like leaning into the stoicism side of things,
yeah,
kind of like keeping a calm mind and just like taking a second, taking a deep breath,
yeah,
like reevaluating the situation, and then trying to tackle it again without like like a crazy frantic mind.
yeah.
So I always thought that was cool. And like growing up when I was young, I think my fuse was way shorter. When I was young, I mean, playing video games and living in the same house, I'm sure you heard me screaming all the fucking time.
Yeah, which
Um,
is funny actually. That's like growing up. Like yeah, that was like you were like yelling at video games, but you posted a video of me. I don't know if you remember years ago. You posted a video on YouTube of me, yes, screaming at a game. I have like a vivid memory of that video. Like, and it was like it was just funny because like you, it's not like you were doing YouTube or anything. You just got this video of me tweaking on a game and then just posted it on YouTube.
I vaguely remember that. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that like I think about that like the random like memory of that pops up every like couple months. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, you were tweaking.
Yeah, I don't know
You
what
were
game. Yeah,
flipping out.
yeah. Which is funny because like you were the one who like ate like it's like known around the house that like you at games. And I what did oh mom brought that up because Jeff is in the house. And she was like, Jeff was tweaking, not being able to get the Battlefield beta to start. Did she tell you
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And she was like, he was in the room like screaming about a game. I felt like, what did Leland move back in?
She said that to me too. Yeah, and then when we were playing the beta, he's not super loud, but he would have his moments where he'd get like really mad, and she's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, yeah. I guess
Flashbacks.
it's probably funny to see it like him tweak out on like something because he's like the opposite of that.
Super mellow, very quiet, calm guy.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to your point of like like as a kid like having a shorter fuse like with video games and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know, like leaning into like stoicism and like I guess the my interest in spiritual growth and everything. I think it really only kind of developed after Dad passed, which I think goes back to a topic that we talk personally about sometimes, where it's like having like not necessarily a traumatic event or a traumatic loss, but having like something really traumatic, for lack of better
Yeah,
terms, happen in your life. Usually does one of two things. It either amplifies you or it drives you to like personal growth and
yeah,
leaning into like the stoicism side of
yeah,
things and
yeah, oh, yeah.
the calmness and all that. And again, like wanting to better myself and not be tweaking all the time on things and like freaking out over nonsense, because usually I just freak out over nonsense. Was pretty cool. And I guess like that kind of leads into like like on Monday, no, on Sunday, um, like I was hyper inspired to come and sit down and do the next episode, because thank you very much to you and Law for inviting me to come to church.
Oh yeah.
But we the the sermon was done. We were standing outside. We were chit chatting for a few minutes, and then walked to the cars to leave. And just like the presence of Jesus and God and all this, like the divine energy, like hit me, and I just felt hyper inspired. Like it was very powerful. I've never been to church before, aside
Mm.
from like being dragged there as a child with Aunt Karen maybe twice.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because we used to
You have
go.
memory?
Very vague.
I did not even know that.
We were young.
Because I've always literally said like I never like I've never been to church or done anything like that.
We
But I
didn't.
didn't even have any memories of that we even.
We only went. My recollection of it is because we used to go and stay at Aunt Karen's with
Yeah.
Christopher and Daniel,
Yeah.
like maybe once a year, and we'd spend like a long weekend there, like a
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of thing. And she was a very religious person. Go to church all the time, and I would assume she read the Bible and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and my guess is that like mom would pick us up Sunday midday or evening, which is usually after when church gets out,
Yeah.
and it was just Aunt Karen. Like all her kids weren't at home
Yeah.
anymore
It was
or
just
whatever.
her. Yeah.
So she brought us with her, not
Ah.
necessarily for us to go to church, but
Because
she was going.
Yeah, and there was yeah, you
And
can't just leave
she
us.
just had us sit there in the
Yeah,
what are they
damn.
called,
See,
pews or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I
Um,
had no recollection of that.
it's very vague, fuzzy memory, and it's a very small snippet.
Interesting.
But yeah,
But yeah, back to your back to yeah.
never really a religious guy. I was never super opposed to it. I recall, like maybe early high school years, I was more opposed to the idea of religion and God because, much like I would assume most people, you kind of feel it's almost like a forced thing or an indoctrinated
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Which to give to to kind of like, I don't know the word here, to kind of like give them some grace, the people who feel this way. I think a lot of it in various aspects of different religions, it is kind of indoctrinated
Yeah.
because there's a lot of like no-nos, like you can't do this, you can't do
Yeah.
that, you can't whatever. Where as I was getting a little older, and then my one of two massive traumatic experiences, it kind of opened my eyes at the time, whereas like going back to what I said before, I was at that crossroads where I could either go one way or the other way, and I leaned into the more calmness, and I'd rather, I've always been like intrigued by knowledge and information because like I'm the logical thinker. I have a big head on my shoulders, massive brain type of thing. I was very, instead of being like anti wanting to learn about it, I identified that a lot of people are hyper anti wanting to even just like give it a chance to just
Yeah.
like, you can like look into it or read about it or even like go to a church or whatever
Yeah.
the religion might be, and come out of it still not being religious in one way, shape, or form. My whole thing is like, why not just take the step to expand your knowledge?
Yeah, like learn about it. Does feel like it's something like people are very like they'll be open to just like learn like reading about random topics just to learn it, whether even if they believe in it or not. But like
Mhm.
when it comes to religion, a lot of people are like or like God or anything. They're very like, oh no, I'm not now. Like I'm not even like because it feel like I guess it comes off like it's like if you read like I don't know if you read about it like yeah, like you can't look into it because that means you're into it. Like I don't know, it always felt like there was like something like that. Which I mean, yeah, like I see a lot, especially people who go to like Catholic schools or it seems like or like I don't know if there's like only ever heard about like Catholic schools or like Christian schools, but like TJ went to like a Catholic
Mhm.
high school or like middle school, and it seems like a lot of people who go through that, at least that I know, come out like very against it or very like no, this isn't true because it's probably so like indoctrinated and so like this way and like
Yeah.
and it paint it. I mean, just from my view early on, it seems like if you're not this, you're wrong. It has that like
Mhm.
perception that like if you're not into it, you're wrong. So it
Mhm.
kind of pushes you against it.
Yeah, I mean, when we were on vacation, the very brief part of the conversation that mom was having with the lot of us, when she was talking about she was going to a Catholic church, and like when she went to marry dad, and they went to the Catholic priest, or
Yeah.
I don't know the terminology of the guy,
Yeah.
and she was explaining how like in the Catholic religion, it's very much the priest or the preacher or whoever is your connection to God,
Yeah, we're a
whereas
Christian. Yeah,
Christianity,
teaches you everyone.
anybody
We
can just,
all
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Not even anybody can. We all do have
Mm-hmm.
like we all have a direct line to
Yeah.
Jesus. Where yeah, like I think I'm pretty like I don't want to misquote anything, but yeah, I'm pretty sure from the little bit of knowledge I have about Catholic, it's more framed like that, where it's like the your preacher or your whoever the person
Mm-hmm.
is like your connection to the God versus like where Christian is teaches you just like everything I've read. It's just like like you have a direct line to Jesus. You just got to talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, um, I think a lot of like people who, like you said, TJ went to Catholic school. A lot of people who get pushed from the religious point, the religious like opinions and standpoints, and just being open minded to the ideas of spirituality and religious and all these things. Um, I can't speak for really any other religion because I don't have any personal friends who are of any religion per se. So I've never really had any good conversations with anybody personally. Um, but I think a lot of the teachings is like if you sin, um, you are like lesser, right?
Yeah.
For lack of better terms, and your only through point to the higher power would be one specific individual, and because it's so rigid, it really throws people off, and it makes people feel like it's an indoctrination. And I completely understand why. Like, at least to me, it's very logical. The line of thinking of how you can get from the beginning to the it's an indoctrination and it's BS and blah blah blah. Whereas like the Christianity side of things really feels more, it's love driven, it's very open minded.
Yeah.
People seem to be more willing to have conversations and with all walks of life. And like, not to say that there aren't people of the Christian faith who are not trying to, for lack of better terms, force other people into the religion.
Yeah.
It seems like they're more willing to be open about having a conversation and sharing
Yeah.
their personal side of the beliefs and like where they're coming from, to
Yeah.
kind of like humanize it a little bit and share like how you don't have, like, my understanding is like Jesus died for our sins, right? So like we're all gonna sin all day, every day, and that's because we're human. You know, we're none of us are perfect. We're just
Yeah.
human. So you accept the fact that you're going to sin throughout your life, every day, every week, whatever it may be, and as long as you work on your connection and your relationship with God and Jesus and whatever your higher power is, through that and doing your absolute best to live like a, not necessarily a good life, but a good life, um, helps bring you closer to like this open-mindedness, this love, this warmth, this like
Mhm.
connection with not only yourself, who you are internally. It brings it builds on the relationship with your God or your higher power, and then your community and those who are not in your community. So like
Yeah.
I find it that, not to like accidentally throw shit on anybody or any, walk of life, um, but a lot of Christians who end up in conversations with people who are not Christian or even not even Catholic, um, they seem to have open-minded conversations about like the differences and like sharing the similarities. I think a lot of people who really, in my opinion, understand the true essence of what like Christianity is,
Mhm.
um, are really good at showing the similarities between the individuals and between the faiths on where
Yeah.
they like line up a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, because yeah. I mean, just from my personal experience and just my understanding of it this far, um, yeah. Because I mean, there are definitely like people probably get turned off a lot too. Because there definitely are like Christians who misuse Christianity or use it in like a self-serving way, and it can still have that same like you're not Christian, you're wrong, which to my in my belief is not a very Christ-like or very Christian way of thinking, because it's like we're all, like you said, we all sin, we all do wrong. The people who I think have a real understanding and like true belief in Christianity understand like they understand that point that we're like it's not the forceful like you got to do this or you're wrong. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it can still come off like kind of like overbearing to some people, but it's just a pure excitement for like I just want you to like get this level of like peace that I hadn't to have in my life, and almost excitement for like I just want you to understand this so
Mm-hmm.
much. And like I guess in some people that can come off like super overbearing because it is just such like a level of like, and like I've like some people that I know that like anytime you talk to them, it always comes back to God. And like I could see how some people who aren't have any sort of faith that would rub them the wrong way because it's like, oh, you put God into everything. But like some like when you like a real Christian, God is in everything. Everything does come back to God. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason we have anything and have anything is because of God. So I can see how it comes. Everything always ties back to that. But to somebody who's not religious, that could come off like you're just trying to force it down my throat all the time. But it's just from like a view of like, no, I have this like such overwhelming peace that like, especially when you see somebody like struggling with something, it's like it like I get how like you because even me now every day I just get a deeper relationship with it. Even like now with like these shifts that are going on where it's like I need to like generate some more money and like I don't know where it's gonna come from. I can when I moved into this office, I can remember talking to Logan the first meeting and being like, "Shit, I don't know how I'm gonna like guarantee there's $1,500 every month for this office," and this overwhelming like anxiety and it's like all on me and I got to figure it out and like this like burden. And now where we're shifting into the next phase and it's like significantly more than that. And I was recognizing after we had the meeting, like we like the more I'm sitting on it and thinking about it, it's like I had no. There was like obviously there's like a anxiety because we're human, but I had like there was no like fear behind it, and there was uncertain. Like I didn't know how. Like I don't know how that's going to be generated every month, but like there is like a I don't know it, but I know it's like I know it's going to be supplied, and like real like recognizing this like whoa like this huge thing that I don't have an answer for, but like I have no worry about almost. I could see how somebody like now having this, it's like when you with like you just like when your cat just went into the hospital and was going through stuff. As soon as you were going through that, like I sent you like a Bible quote
Mm-hmm.
because like going through this and realizing, whoa, like this thing Christianity has given me such like a peace in hard times that it's like when you see somebody going through a hard time, it's like you almost want to push it down their throat for like I like not even like you're wrong for not following this, but like bro, like I when I was going through stuff, this thing gave me so much peace. Like I just want you to have this peace. So I just want you to so now like when me and Law were first together, because she's like very like a very educated Christian, I would say. She's read the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. She can cite like everything. She would be like that, where anytime there's something up, she'd like you should pray to God, or like she'd quote a Bible, like and me being somebody who had no relationship with God and wasn't religious at the time, it would always come off like, okay, I like almost like shut up, like okay, that sounds great, but like I had to handle this problem. Like I am
Yeah.
here dealing with this problem. Like telling like it sounds great, but like
Yeah.
I like whoop de doo. Like I got to deal with this thing. But then like building like this relationship with God and like getting educated with it, and now having the education and a problem coming up, I'm like, oh shit! Like I get why she was doing that because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm gonna solve this problem. I don't know how this gets resolved, but like I have no worry about it because it
Mm-hmm.
almost feels like it's like I'm like yeah, I'm physically like I'm the vessel dealing with this thing, but it's not in my hands to resolve. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the more I trust it's for God to resolve, and I'm just the vessel waiting for the answer, like filling out the answer. Like I just have so much peace. So like now looking back, it's like oh shit, like I get that because like I find myself anytime when the stuff with with Taco, your cat came up. Shane hit me up like a week ago randomly. Just he literally texted me and was like, "Yo, like it was some like, how do you like I just like how do you like when did you know what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?" And I started just like giving my typical like I just picked a thing I enjoyed and did it every day. And then like two messages in, I was literally just preaching about like But like just having a trust in God, because the only reason I know is because God has given me something, and
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
just have to build a relationship. And I found myself becoming the person who it's like every time a conversation gets deep, like 2 sentences in, I'm just referencing a belief in God and a belief
Mhm.
in like having a relationship with God to trust that, because it is like the ultimate form of like peace, knowing that like it isn't in our hands or anything.
Yeah.
That was like just a long tangent.
A lot of where I like my personal beliefs in where my religious side kind of comes from stems a lot from my relationship with Dave, because I don't think he was a very religious individual, but he was a very, very spiritual individual. He was like really big with astrology, and he was really big into crystals and these things, but he was also really big into Jesus, in the sense, not that he would like, I wouldn't say that he didn't have a relationship with Jesus, but he wasn't like talking to Jesus regularly. He wasn't like praying in these things, but he did a lot of research into the life of Jesus, like the man who lived.
Hmm.
He read a lot of books, and he listened to a lot of people talk about him in these things. And between my interactions with him and then my at that time later, what ended up being later interactions with another coworker of ours, Danny, I started to kind of draw my own conclusions and connections on where I think a lot of people get this idea of a relationship with God or a relationship with Jesus or whatever your higher power is, like almost incorrect. Um, where like it's not a very rigid thing. It doesn't have to be a very rigid thing. For some people it works, but I think for the majority of people, the rigidity of it is one of the biggest driving factors as to not do it. It's like, oh, I have to carve out time to get on my knees and pray, and I have to pray a specific way, and I have to do these things in a specific order, and so on and so forth. And something that I did for the longest time, and I'm now identifying it almost like slightly differently, is uh, not everybody has like an inner monologue, but I am one who does. And I would spend a lot of time thinking, but like talking to myself. And a very slight shift that happened probably within the last, like, I'd say 3 weeks, but it really got amplified over like the last 10 days, is instead of talking to myself in my head, I find myself like speaking to Jesus. For lack of better terms, whether it's I'm speaking to Jesus or God or, whoever the higher power is. And building your relationship that way. Obviously, for the most to understand, it's like you're not going to like speak internally and you're going to hear a response and then you're going to speak back and it's going to be like a conversation like we're having now.
Hmm.
A lot of it is you're entertaining a conversation within yourself to allow, like, to essentially to allow your brain to kind of construct parts of a conversation and to process information in a way where it will shine a light on things in your life that you may or may not have identified or are able to
Hmm.
identify, to help you get through whatever's going
Yeah.
through, whether it's a hard time like with me and Taco just recently, or like our grandfather in the hospital right now, or like you switching offices or having to come up with XYZ amount of money for different things. Um, and to lean into what you were saying a second ago is, for me personally, and this comes from it I want to say it kind of stemmed from my relationship with Dave, and then like my processing from there through present time, is I I never, even now, I don't really look at it as everything that's going on is like pre-written or it's in God's plan, even though I'll use those terminologies, especially when I'm talking to people, because I
Hmm.
think that kind of gets the point across to people really like easily,
Hmm.
if it's a shorter conversation. But the way that I've always taken things is like the saying is, you make a plan, and like I think mom said this just the other day, like you make a plan and God laughs at it,
Yep.
which in a sense is kind of true. I think that's a weird way of wording it, because I don't think God is laughing at your plans. I think if you make a plan and things don't work out the way that you planned them, you might be like, "Oh, God's laughing at me." But in reality, what it seems to be happening is you made a plan and God is showing you that his plan is different and better for what it is.
100%.
So you like, for me, I take everything at face value as they come, and I try my absolute best not to fret over things.
Yeah.
I'm human, so obviously, like,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
fret over
Like,
things and
stuff
stress
comes
over
up, yeah.
things. But it's like say I need money soon, and I don't have a job, and I need to get a job. So it's like I start stressing about it, and it's like I just applied for 10 places, and I hope I get one of these, and I really want this one, and I get the interview for that place, but then I don't get the job. And like now I'm like really mad and upset and like, oh, how could this happen? God, how could you do this to me? Yada, yada, yada. And instead of leaning into that situation, obviously that will come just naturally for most people. It's like, all right, you take a second, you take a step back, take a deep breath and be like, all right, I really wanted that and it didn't happen. So what is actually going to happen? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then just
Yeah.
waiting and watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a saying that I don't remember where I heard it. I heard it a while ago, and I keep it really close to my heart and in my brain, and I like to share it with people, especially if people are having a tough time dealing with something. And the saying goes like, you might know something, but you might need to hear it. And essentially what it means is you might know that you need patience in waiting for this company to call you back for the job, but you're like freaking out and you might know you need to wait.
Yeah.
But if someone comes to you and is like, hey man, just take a deep breath. They'll get back to you when they get back to you. Just hearing it
yeah.
is will like kind of trigger something in your brain. It'll like kickstart you to like take that second, take that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
you know? And then the other thing that really sticks with me, I think it was Mel Gibson said this. I think he said it on Joe Rogan's podcast. And this one is really, really important. At least in my opinion, it's really, really important that people think about this, is judge me on my second thought and first action. Okay? So what I mean by this, and I have an example that I give to people when I'm in deep conversations, and essentially the picture that I'll draw for you here is, say you're in the supermarket and you're walking down the aisle and a lady pushing a stroller walks into the aisle coming at you. There's a baby in the stroller. As you guys go to pass, you might have a random thought, as horrible as this is going to sound, I could punch that baby in the face. But you don't. Like, don't judge me that thought popped into my head. My second thought was, wow, that was a crazy thought. And my first action was to keep on walking and then just let that thought go. It's more important on your first action and your second thought than the first action you have. Because to me, I find that like human beings are like the way that our brains work and the way that thoughts are like that come into your head. You can have your own thoughts. You can like make up thoughts in your head, but then there's a lot of downtime where thoughts just pop into your head and it's like, where did they come from? We're kind of like antennas to a radio.
Yeah.
And the dial is just constantly spinning. So like everything is just kind of coming in randomly through simulation or through whatever. And it's kind of up to you to dial into certain things and allow the songs to play on certain stations.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a couple of points to what you said. Kind of on the last thing you said, yeah, like I've heard the thing, I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it's like you got to take control of your own mind, because if you don't, your mind will take control of you. It's like if you don't take control of your mind and like kind of direct it, which is easier said than done. It's like it'll just take over, like it'll run you. These random thoughts, because random thoughts will take over you. And then going on the point, like you said, oh, like people could be, something bad happens to you, and you're like, why, why would God do this to me? One of the best things I've heard to that point is like, God never does things to you; He does things for you. So if you change that shift, it's like, why would God, like, you didn't get the job you wanted? Why would God do this to me? He didn't do that to you. He did that for you. He didn't give you that job you wanted for you because this other thing needs to happen, like you said, because His plan is better.
That's a good point.
And like that kind of goes with the thing where it's like like I've heard all the time, like you make a plan and God laughs at you. I get how the people like that comes off like negative, like he's saying like, haha, you thought.
Yeah.
But in the sense of like, it's like you always, because from what I like in Christianity, we are like, you're a child first. Like you always like you're the child. We're children of God, and like you're always you got to be a good child first. And that quote to me, it's like, you make a plan and God laughs at you. It's as if you had a 1-year-old and your 1-year-old is like, I'm going to eat chocolate cake for every meal. That's my plan. And the parents like laughing at you because you're like, that's not a good plan. Like you're laughing
Yeah.
because it's almost so funny because like you don't, because like a 1-year-old obviously has zero perspective for the world and how it works. Any plan a 1-year-old makes, the parent is going to laugh at, like, because you're like, that's like, I, no, you're not. You can do, but you're going to actually do this. So it's like, because like, and that's how you almost have to look at it. It's like, no matter, you could be 60 years old, you're still a 1-year-old compared to God, because God has the
Yeah.
way more understanding of everything.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, because like you can make your plans, but like make your plans and then ask God, and then you just have to trust Him moving, like however the outcome comes. And then I like, to your point you made super earlier about like having your own relationship with God. And a lot of people are turned off because when they look into it, it's like, oh, it's so rigid. Like, oh, you're telling me if I don't go to church every Sunday, if I don't pray, if I don't read the Bible, like I got to do all these things for this. It's like, and like I had that viewpoint too. That's probably why the first 20 years of my life I had like no interest in it, because it was like, I'm not gonna do that stuff. But kind of eliminating, like, forgetting that you have to do all that to have a relationship with God. Just kind of look into it in whatever aspect. Just like open your mind to just like, this isn't opening your mind in the sense of like, oh, I gotta convince myself that this is real. Just like the same way you'd open up a book about Moby Dick and read it. It's not like I'm telling you to read Moby Dick to believe that this whale lived, and like just read it and like let it just whatever. Because as somebody who had no relationship, like I would literally spend, like I can vividly remember one night me and Law spent like 4 hours just debating. And it wasn't like it was just a you're wrong, you're wrong. It was like, as somebody who had no like was adamant, like I'll sit here and debate you on this thing, like bring up a point about God, I'll tell you why it's wrong. And like 4 hours back and forth. And it was the first time that it only ended because I was genuinely like, wow, like it wasn't like she convinced me in this conversation, because at the end I hadn't changed my viewpoint. I was still like, I don't believe. But like we got to the end and I was like, wow, like I have no more questions or responses. Like, because like, and prior to that, I've maybe like anytime I had conversations with people who are religious, they weren't educated enough. It would be like me right now. Like, I don't think I could debate religion with somebody who's like trying to debate me on it, because I'm not educated enough. Like, I feel like when you first develop a relationship with God, at least from my view, I just know that Jesus is our Savior and God is the answer, and like putting your faith in Him and everything's on Him. But I can't articulate why I know. It's just an internal no. And as now that I have that belief, now I'm educating myself to learn, and going on it being so rigid. I think you have to erase your mind that you don't have to do any of that stuff. Just pick an aspect, whether it is just go to church with somebody who goes to church and not like you have to go to church every Sunday. It's like, are you free this Sunday? I'm free. Just come with me. Don't go there and like listen to this as if you got to like just go there as if you're going to a coffee, like just
like a college class, just sit on and listen.
Yeah, or open up a Bible to a random chapter and just read it the same way you just read a book. Like just pick one thing to kind of just like open the door. Because like as somebody who had no relationship with it, I understood that. And then you just needed one thing to kind of open the door, because now I'm somebody who I've been going to church every Sunday. I read the Bible, maybe not every day, but like I actively read the Bible. I listen to the Bible every day. I got the Bible app. I listen to the daily spirituals. Like now I'm slowly finding myself doing all these things you have to do.
Like naturally.
Yeah, and it changed my viewpoint. It's like, oh, you don't have to do these things. Like the reason that like these people who are so religious do these things is because they want to. Because like for my example was, I wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm gonna get religious. I'm gonna start going to church every Sunday. I'm gonna read the like. And my first thing was like I was just curious on why this one book stood the test of time for more than all other books. That was my like opening. It was just purely out of like. I was into reading. I would read books. Like I started reading books, and I was curious on why this one book has lasted longer than any other book. And like just there, so all right, so I'm interested. If this one book is like the same way, if like you told me that the one book, you're like, this has been a highly recommended book.
Yeah,
So now,
Marcus
I'm
Aurelius'
interested.
book,
A lot of people read this. Let me read it, because why do a lot of people read it? It's the ultimate version of that. It's like this book has literally been read. People have died over this book. I don't know many other books people have wholeheartedly stood on and died over for so many years. So I was like, let me read it. And in doing that, it was like, I felt like that caused me to be like, oh shit. And then I started reading that book every day. And then over like, it took me a year of just reading the Bible, and then the relationship developed. And then we went to church once. It was just Law and her friend Kelly were like, just come to church with us one time. So I went once and I was like, oh, I like this. And like a month later, I went again. And then I went 2 days in a row. And then like all those things finally just kind of, now I do all the things you should do. Like I pray every day. And when a problem comes up, I pray about it. I go to Jesus first. I read the Bible every day. I go to church every Sunday. And it wasn't like I had to force this rigid thing on me. I've discovered that it's, you don't have to do any of those things. Like it like people, Christians might say like you should do these things, like you should, but like you don't have to force yourself to do it, because much like everything else in Christianity, it's like God is like a forgiving, and God is an understanding God. If you don't do these things, it doesn't make you not a Christian or not a believer. It's like he knows better than anybody. You're gonna come to him at the time you like are gonna come to him. It's like, so find, like, you don't have to do all these things. Just pick one thing just to learn it, even if just purely out of, like you said, just educating yourself. The same way you're curious about the story of Moby Dick. Just grab a Bible from somebody and flip to a random page and read a chapter, like just as a chapter.
Yeah, I think two things that could help a lot of people in understanding, not necessarily bringing themselves to a faith, but to kind of allow themselves to be a little bit more open with it, is one, you need to understand that I'm not, take this with a grain of salt. You can't just jump right into it. You will find your way to whatever faith you find yourself to when the time is right. Yep. And you don't decide when that time is. It will just kind of happen to you. And then the other one that I think is good to keep in mind is, like, especially for people who are skeptical, people who are a little bit more open-minded with the ideas of religion, or like you said, you were just curious about like how this one book stood the test of time for fucking thousands of years. Is your end can be just like the pursuit of knowledge, right? Because to me, a lot of my spiritual like searching was that. It was, I'm very curious on the knowledge of it, and like almost like the science behind a lot of it. And in my pursuit of wanting to understand and just know the knowledge, kind of drew me into my own personal like version of what my faith is, because I wouldn't classify myself too hard in one category. I would still say that I'm way more under the umbrella of spiritualism than like Christian or Catholic or any of these other things. I do personally identify that like Jesus is my Lord and Savior and all these things. And I find myself having more and more conversations, especially since this whole debacle with Taco, just having one-on-ones with Jesus, and allowing, like I said before, allowing myself to open these conversations and these questions and queries that I have to just see where my brain goes. And a lot of the times it doesn't come to you in that conversation. You just open your mind to it, so that a little later down the road, whether it's a couple hours or a couple days or even a couple weeks, you have this like aha moment. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like having the pursuit of knowledge can kind of kickstart your like pull into a faith. I think is very important for people to hold close to their chest, so that they kind of can separate from the rigidityness of it.
A good, I mean, like you said, a good implementation to just kind of like opening your mind to it. Before, like when I can vividly remember Law being like, before I had built a relationship with God, Law would say a prayer. She would just constantly like just the short prayer of just show yourself to Corey in a way that only he would understand it's you. Because the same way God's going to speak to you, I might look at that and be like, no, that's not God, that's this. But like a way that only, and like when she would do it, and then before I had a relationship, I was like, what's the harm in just this? So I would just say that prayer to myself, like, God, show yourself to me in a way only I would understand, or like that I can like I would undeniably know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think in doing that, it kind of subconsciously opens your eyes
to
to
looking at the
start to
world, yeah.
looking at the
So
world.
on that point, I would say to Law all the time. We talk because like to I think the phrasing I've come up with it is translators. There's like translators. There's good translators for God in the world, and I think Law is a great translator. At least to me, she was great at not just being like you're wrong, Christian's right. These are things you got to do. She would I would ever whatever point I'd bring to her, she would be able to translate it in a way that it made sense to me. Um, and I'm losing the point I just had, but yeah, saying just saying that it opens your almost like turn opens your antennas to just being open to that, and then me and Lauren would have conversations a lot about the more you build this relationship with God, the more you're tuning your antenna to be able to identify that. And it's like the more you build this relationship, the more those things point out, which I think kind of connects back to the people who like and if you come to somebody who's Christian or somebody who has a strong faith with God, anytime you bring up any point to them, they're gonna bring God into that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guarantee that like it'll come up and like that'll be a response because the more you, in my view, the more you build this relationship with them, they have a stronger antenna. Which like anytime I would have problems as I was building this relationship, anytime I would have problems and I'd go to law with it, she would be able to go like point out to me like this is what I think God is trying to show you or say with this, and I couldn't, and then she'd point out and be like, "Oh, I think you're right." And like
Mm-hmm.
now, as I've gotten a strong relationship, I find myself people come to me with problems. I'd be like, "Oh, this is what I think God is kind of trying to speak to you." And like the more you build that relationship, the stronger you're, like the shorter distance between you and God, the quicker, almost like the quicker He speaks to you. Like you're saying, like you might say that, like make that prayer, and like in a week you realize, like, oh, this thing versus like there's more you build that relationship. I think the like quicker, for lack of a better term, obviously that's just a human way of looking at it. But like a good example of that, like, is the other day. So like I for like the longest time, I made a video like years ago. It had to been like 3 or 4 years ago now. I have a video on my Instagram of me. I was in LA for the BET Awards, and I was just in the hotel room, and I made this video talking about it was before I had any sort of relationship with God, and it wasn't a thought on my mind at all. But I can remember the video was me talking about how lucky I was that I found my what in life, and I came to a realization that people need to have a happy life. You need to know your what and your why, what you're supposed to do and why you do it. And the video almost has like a sad energy to it. I'm talking about how like I've known my whole life. I think I'm lucky because I know what I'm supposed to do. Since a young age, I figured out what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to create. I knew what like, and I just figured that what out at 12 years old, and I've done it every single day, and that made me happier than a lot of my friends who I was seeing weren't happy because they were just kind of lost in life. But it like to second that point, I was lucky because I found that and it made me happier than other people. But I was still unhappy. And the realization was because I knew what I was supposed to do, but I didn't know why. I don't know why I was supposed to create. And like at the time I remember saying like I know I'm supposed to create, and like I have a feeling I know it, like I know what I want to create is like music videos and music content, like stuff like videos around music. And I know I was my what, but I don't know my why. And I totally forgot about that video. I made it, and I didn't like seek my why. I just came to that realization, made that point, and just continued my life. And yesterday or 2 days ago, I was driving to the office. Let me grab this book, and out of nowhere, I was listening to this audiobook I started listening to. It's called
That's a cool looking book.
right. This is I bought it in South Carolina at that shop on Devusky. Yeah, I had mine
Uh,
buy it on Devusky.
Buy
Um,
another one when I move there.
this is sick. When I open it to read it, I gotta show the pages are like old school paper. It's sick, but
Oh,
I
that's
gotta.
cool.
But I was driving here and I was listening to this audiobook called uh, Faith Driven Entrepreneur. It's about basically like connecting entrepreneurship with God. And I just came to this realization, and I like of my why 2 days ago. It hit me, and it was I was struggling the last like I don't know, I would say like last year, but like more and more recently as I was building a relationship with God. The problem that I was struggling with was the industry I'm building this career in is very unholy. The rap hip hop industry is sex, drugs, illegal activity, promiscuous, a lot of multiple
Promiscuity,
women. Yeah.
yeah.
It's very unholy, and I'm struggling with, like, I'm building this relationship with God to follow God, but I'm actively benefiting off these unholy things and supporting them. I'm getting pay. I'm getting monetary payment off of creating stuff for these people that is supporting the unholy activities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I was just asking God, like I was struggling with, am I supposed to leave this industry? Am I supposed to create, but not in this industry that I've been building in and that I have found like I like rap music, I like hip hop, I like this. Like, am I supposed to not be in this industry? Is it wrong for me to be building a relationship with God and be monetarily benefiting off of these unholy activities? And I've been struggling with it for a while, like more and more as I'm building a relationship with God. And I'm like, is it wrong of me to be doing this? Like, that it's fake of me to be worshiping God and be talking about God, how great He is, and how to live and trying to live more in His image of, like, not doing things that are unholy, but then coming here and benefiting off of it. And then on the drive here 2 days ago, I got the revelation. I got the realization that, like of my why, and I was like just kind of praying and talking to God, like, is this wrong? Like, what should I do? And my realization was, I'm not supposed to leave this industry. I think God gave me this talent, this interest, and allowed me to build this business in this industry, not so I can realize that and then leave it. It's so I can be, going back to that point of translators, I can be a translator in this
Oh.
industry. Because what initially, besides like in being interested in the Bible and just reading it, what opened after reading that, because I had started reading the Bible and still I was just reading it as a book because I was curious, no connection to God. What the thing that triggered me to actually open my mind was three people, two that I know personally and one online, like one person I followed, two friends that I knew very closely. I mean, one closer than the other, but two people I know personally that were in this industry and lived very unholy lives. Multiple women, drugs,
Oh, you said
artists.
this
Like,
recently. I
they were
remember.
artists I worked with, and they just lived your typical artist lives, fucking around with girls, drugs, smoking weed, doing all this like stuff, illegal activities. And then each of them separately, they don't know each other, but separately, out of the blue, like a light switch, they purged everything and they gave up all of that completely and like found God, built relationships, and to this day completely stepped away from that life. Like, they both stopped making music for a while, but now have come back to it and both make Christian music. They both, like, all they post is about God and talking about God. Anytime I've spoke to them since, it's just about how God is God is the greatest, and that, like, and it, like, seeing both of them at the time when I had no relationship with God, like, switch like this, seeing people I knew who loved like this life, and then completely switch it, like, opened my mind to be like, there's something here, because, like,
Mm-hmm.
I resonate with you guys because, like, I love this industry and I like smoking weed and doing all this stuff. And then seeing you guys switch, it's like, wait, okay, like, I would never switch to that. Like, there's something here. And then completely, like, not a great role model. I'm not saying he's a good role model, but Zerka, Zerka?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would watch his content. I'd just see his content on Instagram, watch his content. And he was like the epitome of, like, a shitty person. Like, most people would watch his content and be like, this guy's a terrible person. But he'd always preach about God and how God is the greatest and how God is his savior. And, like, that, like, dichotomy of him being like this person who, like, objectively is like a shitty person online, but then still going and preaching about how God is great. Those three people and those made me open my eyes. And, like, those three people, to me, without we would never speak directly, but they were translators to me
Mm-hmm.
because they were able to take where somebody would just like a normal Christian or whatever, not normal, but like somebody who's just Christian would talk to me and I'd be so, like, not open minded to it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who could translate it in a way that it made sense to me,
Mm-hmm.
like, they were translators to me. So going back to the point of, like, realizing my why, I think God gave me these talents, and specifically in this industry. I don't think it's a coincidence that have for like forever been so hard set on, like, no, I just want to make music videos. Like, I was editing weddings, I was doing all this stuff, and it was like I acknowledge doing products, weddings, like, content for businesses makes more money. It's way, if I want to have a stable life, that is a better path to follow. But I've been so hard set on, like, I'm not supposed to do that. I don't want to do that, and I never knew. I just thought it was because, like, that's not cool to me. This is cool, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah.
this. But I don't think it's coincidence. That's the reason. I think God specifically put me in this industry and love it so much and like building this business in it so I can be a trans, so I can be the same thing as those 3 people, as my 2 friends that I saw, that I can be in this industry and build this thing that people who live these such unholy lives and are so anti-religion in this industry, they can one day see like now that I've like as of now I've started posting content and referencing God more. Prior I never did, but now I am. Like they can one day see something, be like, "Yo, wave change is really cool," or "Wave change is like Corey built this thing that's so dope." Like, and then they see me talking about God, and it's like I can be that voice when it's like, wait, like he's in this industry, or like I can be that thing that they like. They're open to listening to me because I'm in the same industry and I'm around their stuff, and I can translate God in a way that's, for lack of a better term, cool. Like it's not just like I come here, I'm you're wrong for smoking weed and doing all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff. It's like, nah, bro. Like we're in the same industry, but like let me give you a second. Let me tell you about Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 days ago I had the revelation, and since 2 days ago, since that moment driving here in the car, I've had such a a level of peace because I feel like I finally, going back to that video I made years ago of like you need a what and a why. It's like I found the what at 12, so I 50% of the way there. So I was like happier than a lot of my peers and a lot of people I saw because I knew the what, but I was lacking the why. And then I just unlocked that why 2 days ago, and it's like that it like flooded me driving here, like realizing that. And then I came in and I got this, and it's crazy how like you know talk about like signs of God. It's like I saw this book on the bus and I was like, this shit is fire. Like look at the papers. Like it's like looks like Benjamin Franklin would write in
Oh
this.
yeah,
Like
yeah, that's really
this
cool.
shit is dope. And I got literally was saying to Chelsea like 3 days ago. It had to been 3 days ago because it was pre me getting that realization. I was like, this book is sick, but like I don't even know what I'm gonna use it for because like I feel like I gotta write really important shit in it. Cause like there's only so many pages and it's not like an average book. So I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna write in it, but it's so cool. And then like a day later I had that realization and I got flooded, and it like immediately I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to write about in this book. Like I wrote everything I just articulated. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
about how like um my mission is to spread the glory of God, to be a translator to people in this industry that is full of unholiness. Show God, show the true power of God. Talk about how to be a translator, to be the spark for people. What first opened my like literally when I was just talking about how like my friends, those 2 people, kind of translated it to me, and how God put me here for a reason. This is the reason He gave me, like to be that translator to people in this industry. And it's just crazy how like I had the realization so long ago that like didn't know the why, and then I got this book and I was literally saying like I need to write important things and I don't know what I'm gonna write, and then like a day later having that realization, and like I came in and I was like, no, I need to write about that in this book, and like it just seeing that together and like realizing that why of like being like, oh, I know why I'm supposed to be here, and like getting the piece of like the thing I've been struggling so long with, like am I supposed to be in this industry? Is it wrong to being like, oh no, I'm not wrong to be in this industry. It's just I'm wrong if I'm in this industry and not speaking about God, not forcefully, not like the only thing I could post is about God. Like every post has to
Yeah,
be about
yeah.
God, but like I'm not just like consciously being like I'm in this industry to be a translator. So like be in this industry, do what I'm the same thing I'm doing, build this business, but like when the opportunity arises, like implement God, like mention God. And not like to force anything, just like be that little reminder when somebody like an artist brings up struggling by something, just mention God, throw it out there. So because like the same way my 2 friends, they never spoke to me about God, but just seeing them, like seeing it here and there with them sparked it for me. Like if I can do that to somebody else, it's like I think that was the purpose and like the why.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. Wow.
That was like I forget there's a term for like my testimony.
Yeah,
That's my testimony right there.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, just like coming to that, like up until having like even just speaking it out right now, the power of just like speaking it out. I didn't fully like I wrote everything I just said. I wrote out, but like saying it now, like remembering that video of like my why. I don't think I mentioned the why in it. It wasn't until just now talking about it that I remembered that video where I literally said I know my what, but I don't know my why, and like the video was left on that. Like I don't know my why.
You know it. You might need to hear it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
damn.
pretty crazy. It's very
Yeah.
profound. Yeah, I mean, whether it's actively preaching things and
I
and
need
stuff.
this clip. This
Yeah,
is for
yeah.
this Leland when you're editing it. That whole thing I just said, you can chop it down a little bit so it's cleaner. But like, I need that clip because I need to post that.
I got you.
Anyway,
Um, Yeah, that was really profound. Holy shit. Quite literally. Um, yeah, and it like the word that comes to mind for me in a lot of what you're saying is not necessarily being the translator. Like as your knowledge grows, you'll be able to articulate really well, like how law does for you.
Yeah.
Um, I think that not necessarily for the Christian faith, um, but I'm able to do pretty much the same thing when I talk to people who I would say are like lower on the rung of a spiritual journey than I am.
Hmm.
Like throughout all of my conversations with pretty much everybody I ever have, as long as they're open minded to having a spiritual conversation with me,
Yeah.
I think I'm very good at being able to, for lack of better terms, kind of dumb down the terminology to help people understand the
In a
points
way
I'm
that makes
making.
sense to them. Yeah. Yeah, that's my definition of translator. It's able to
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
speak
figured
it
as
in
much.
like your language, like not that we speak a different language,
Mm-hmm.
but like your language of your brain, how you process information.
Yeah, but the word that I think would fit a little bit better for what you were saying for you being in the industry and
Yeah.
everything is you are to be a beacon for the
Hmm.
people, right? Because um, just by living the values and the virtues that you hold dear to your heart and that are growing and strengthening within yourself, it will show to others. Like your friends who didn't express to you directly that XYZ things have changed and yada, yada, yada. They were beacons just via proxy, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then, like, in being, that's like a very subtle way of sharing these things. And I think that helps a lot because going back to what we were talking about a little earlier, I think one of the things that holds people back from even just entertaining the pursuit of any kind of faith, whether it's Christian or Catholic or Islam or Judaism or astrology or whatever, is there's a fear in it, right? So it's like you're not necessarily educating, but like articulating to people things and kind of showing that because I think people have a lot of fear in it because subconsciously a fair amount of them I would assume it's consciously, but I think most people it's a subconscious fear where it's like if I start to go down this path to blah blah blah, I think I use blah 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 because I don't think people know what fits there, but it's like
Yeah.
in this pursuit of like a faith
Fill in the
or
blank, whatever.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever, it's there is a subconscious understanding within them because they're human that they will start to have to almost self-identify all of the shortcomings that they have in themselves. And a lot of people, most people, I think, don't identify the shortcomings that they have and like the things that they do where they sin a lot and all these other things. But it's very, very uncomfortable for people to allow themselves to open their minds enough to even have the conversations because to allow yourself to be open-minded you have to be very vulnerable with yourself and if you're in conversation with someone being vulnerable with those people
Yeah.
where it's like you have to then you just almost start identifying all of these shortcomings like I smoke weed. I take pills. I bang a lot of chicks. I do all
Yeah.
these things that are unholy, and it makes them uncomfortable because they start to feel lesser of an individual. Because I don't really know what the because is. I think for everybody it's a little bit different. I think there are some umbrellas that cover a lot of people where it's like oh now I'm like comparing myself to like a perfect being what like this perfectness that everybody expresses that God is
Yeah.
and you can't do that for a multitude of reasons but like the main one is you're human and he's not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think a lot of it comes from like a fear which is natural, we're human, but I think the one of the best driving forces that helps people kind of come to a self peace through a spiritual or a faith esque like point is just being like in proximity to these things and like watching close friends and loved ones and stuff kind of find peace and be able to maneuver through life
Yeah.
and the world through all of the ups and downs like you might have someone in your life who, when you start like interacting with them, and you start to see that their life seems way harder than yours, and like so many challenges get thrown in their face, and it's always hardships. It's like
Yeah.
you lose all your money, and maybe you're now homeless, and there's a ton of,
Yeah.
you have loved ones who are getting sick or dying or whatever. People are leaving you, and something about them that never changes is like this, like almost like an aura of them. They have like this
Yeah.
blanketed peace that they hold
Yeah.
within them. And most of them, if you were to ask, that they kind of bring it back to God and Jesus and their faith and stuff, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do it in that sense. One, because it's true for them and just in general. But two, I think most people are unable to articulate a lot of things very well. I
Mhm.
don't. I think that most people aren't meant to articulate a lot of this, really at all. In my opinion, like one's faith is a personal matter. It's
Yeah.
like a personal relationship with your higher power.
Yeah.
Um, but I think religions as a whole isn't necessarily shouldn't be a very personal thing. I think that, going back to the last episode where I mentioned that the two things that are the big no-nos in conversations is religion and politics, um, understandably so. Like usually those end up in fights and stuff. Um, I think that I think that stepping away from your personal, the deep personal connection that you have, especially with people who aren't close to being as far along on the path as you,
Yeah.
because that will push people away, is kind of just allowing people to witness like the miracles of God, for lack of
Yeah.
better terms.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's
Yeah, I think like I think that you were saying that like connects to being like sort of a beacon because it's like I I can definitely like if my why is to be that and like show that I can probably do it a lot easier like you said just by living it out and like letting it be known that like the the source is God, but it's not like I'm just like preaching God. It's just like
mm-hmm,
showing the life and like letting the life show. It's like why do you have these like to my friends who are like, how do you like why do you like when did you discover your thing or like why like how did you find a thing that like you were able to like follow and like find your it's like just living it out and being like the first time they like look at it and like look at me and like it's God no and they check back in a year later it's God and like letting
mm-hmm,
that just like show and live it out and
mm-hmm.
like you said just like showing the power of God um but yeah it definitely is I don't know exactly like yeah but like I've always been somebody who's very like just like kind of like you like open the conversation of like religion to me isn't like a no conversation like I don't talk about politics because I have like no knowledge on it but like it's not like I'm anti to like I'll listen to whatever but like yeah it is interesting that like that is a very like it's just a like people aren't it's hard to have a good conversation with people I feel because it's like it goes one of two ways I found it's either I talk to somebody and like it's just like you understand the same things like the people who are not religious or don't have a relationship with God it's just very like they're just like shut down the conversation it's very just like no that's whack that's wrong it's not
Yeah.
real um
Yeah, I think a lot of that though comes from what I was saying before of like it's not their time yet to like they're not pulled to whatever it might be, because
yeah
like not everybody gets pulled in the same direction at the same time. Like
yeah
for me, as my spiritual journey has matured over the recent months and maybe the last year or so, it's leaned more towards the Christianity side of things. But it started with the pursuit of knowledge, and then a lot of it was on the spiritual side. Um, my biggest my biggest beacon was Dave, and his biggest thing was astrology. Um, me and Danny would always call it space racism because it's just funny to call it space racism. Um, but most people go one of two ways when it comes to astrology. It's like it's very demonic, or it's everything. Where it's like, you know, I'll make the joke where like girls use it as their horoscopes and all
yeah
this
yeah
not nonsense or whatever. And like, hey, if that works for you, then it works for you. There's no reason to like shit on somebody if they have a connection to a higher power within themselves to help them have personal growth in one way, shape, or
yeah
form. But
I think the problem comes up. It's interesting because it might just be like a me thing. I haven't had many conversations with people, but it's like a lot of people when they like say get crystals are their thing. If you bring up like if I were to then come to them and be like, well, they tell me like crystals because they do X, Y, Z, and if I were to come to them and be like, well, what if well God created crystals, so is it not God? You're almost attacking their higher power,
Mm-hmm.
and they become very like combative.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where like, and that's where it's like hard to have a conversation with people. Where it's like, it's interesting because again, it might just be a me thing, but like if somebody were to come to me and like if I said that to them, like they tried to bring up a point on why God isn't real, I don't feel like it's a personal attack against my higher
Yeah, yeah.
power. I would have the conversation and I would rebuttal with a point and just have a conversation, which I hope and I wish more people could just have that open conversation versus just like
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're personally attacking their God, which I think kind of connects to the point of like in Christianity, one of the main things like from reading the Bible, they talk about it early in the Bible is it's God says not to worship false idols. He tells I forget who when he's talking to people about like burning all the statues of these other gods they were worshiping because like you shouldn't worship false idols, and that's where like Christian I think Christian maybe just religious people say like crystals are bad, like it's a bad thing. They're saying like, it's
Uh-huh.
demonic.
Well, astrology
Yeah,
is seen more as demonic than crystals, but I
people
see what
look
you're
at
saying.
they look at it as bad because it's bad if you're looking at the crystals as like your idols. You're
Mm-hmm.
treating them as if they're God
Mm-hmm.
versus like God doesn't look at like law was we were just having this conversation where the Bible says that heaven is like the walls of heaven are literally crystals
Yep.
um if you just the viewpoint of like crystals can have power, but because God created them and gave them a power, like you don't make those things, you don't make astrology your God.
Mm-hmm.
God created astrology, so the astrology has this power and this purpose. I think like that's better, in my opinion. That's a better way to look at it because like even like I have crystals on my desk. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they're demonic. I just don't look at this crystal like this crystal is going to give me the answer. This
Yeah.
crystal might give me an answer, but it's God giving the answer through the thing. Like,
Yeah, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll take other things and like what you were just saying, they like start to idolize other things. They
yeah,
make things into their god,
yeah,
whether it's crystals or it's
yeah, whatever
astrology
it
or
is.
it's
Yeah,
technology or it's drugs and sex and blah blah
yeah.
blah blah. I had a point I was gonna make. Um, mm, mm, mm. Crystals. Oh, on the point of the crystals though is where I think some people kind of see them almost as a demonic thing. Again, I think more people think astrology is more on the demonic side than crystals are because for a lot of reasons. But like crystals come from the earth and astrology is up in the sky. Um, but where I think people start to get the whole crystals things wrong and when they start to like almost idealize and worship stones
Mm-hmm.
is the shift you need to make almost is crystals like radiate energy. All right,
Yeah.
it's
Everything
not
has a frequency.
yeah, yeah. There's everything has a frequency. They're not a pseudo god or a replacement or a band aid for a higher power, but if you keep certain gemstones and crystals and even wood to a degree, depending on the wood and whatever, they have frequency and they give off certain energies. So like I haven't really worn my bracelets in a long time, which are all like crystals and stuff. Um, but I usually just wear three, and I wear them for a specific reason. It's four different stones. Actually, there's a fifth stone, but I don't remember what the fifth one is. And there's only like two or three beads on the one. But I wear a moss agate stone. Um, I don't, off the top of my head, remember exactly what that does. It's a more like it's a very nature thing, and I started wearing that because Dave recommended that I wear that because he and himself identified like a lot of the frequency that I give off, Mossy gives off. It's very naturey. It's a dark green. That's kind of why I have like this whole.
Okay.
And I like the naturey thing. I get a lot of dad from it, and
Mm.
like I resonate with that a lot. And then one that I was really big on was Black Obsidian. And then my Black Obsidian bracelet broke, so then I moved over to a lava stone. I at the time just didn't have a Black Obsidian, but then I liked the coarseness of lava stone. Um, And then the other bracelet, the third one that I wear, it's 2 separate stones, and I don't remember what they are. I think I have a picture of what they are on my phone somewhere. It's like a white marble looking stone, and it's another green looking stone. And I don't recall why I chose those. Again, I have the pictures in my phone somewhere. And I had a crystal merchant when I was at the tattoo shop, and he had like so much information on the different things of them all. So I picked those 2 for him to make the bracelet. And because he has all the information, he was able to help guide me into
Yeah.
what I should and shouldn't put together.
Mm.
But I wore them for the reasons of like just holding the frequency and keeping good vibes and energies around me.
Yeah.
And I never had the Mossagate and then the multicolored one side by side. I always put the lava stone one in the middle because lava stone, much like obsidian, is a protective stone. So I always separated the 2 so that the energies didn't mix too weird and crazy like. And then just having a protective stone on is in my opinion, it's always nice to have,
Yeah.
whether it's just around or it's on you or whatever. And then leaning into my knowledge I gained from Dave is there's masculine and feminine energy. In this conversation, I'm going to lean on the human side of it.
Mm.
You, if I'm remembering correctly, your left side is the feminine, and the right side is the masculine. It might be the other way, but I think that's what it is because your left hand takes in and your right gives, right? So depending on which side you wear what on, it slightly does different things. And I almost never wear anything on my right wrist. I always wore those on my left because to me, like the protective stone over the other 2 was very, very important for me to wear on my left
Because it protects.
because
from
it's
what's coming in.
protecting me from the negative energies and stuff of the world, yada yada yada. And then in the vein of the stones and stuff, not having a high amount of knowledge within the crystal world, if you will, personally, super weird, but I was like almost able to identify if I was supposed to wear something or not and which arm I was supposed to wear it on. And the only example that I have off the top of my head is maybe a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. I have a bunch of bracelets at home and I keep them all in my nightstand except for those 3. I either have them on my nightstand or on my desk. And I was putting on a bunch of different bracelets and I was putting them on the different arms. And I was wearing 6 or 7 bracelets, 3 on one and 4 on the other. And when it was like 2 or 3 that I never wore before. And I put them on my right wrist. And within 15 minutes, it was like some weird sharp pain. It's the best way I could describe it. I don't think it was really a sharp pain, but it seemed like a sharp pain. It was just shooting through my arm. And it was only after I put the bracelet on and I gave it a few minutes and it was like very uncomfortable. It was almost like when you hit your funny bone and your arm goes numb. And it was like the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing. So then I took them off and then after a few minutes it dissipated and went away. And I never put that bracelet on again. Neither arm. I didn't get rid of it. I think it's somewhere in my house. I might have gotten rid of it. I don't remember. But like from that moment, I was like fully like believing in frequencies and energies of stones and the importance of if you have like a belief in them, the importance of where you have them and stuff of this nature. Because tons of different stones do tons of different things. And then to kind of pair with my word belief there, I think that the human brain is very, very, very advanced and we know very little about it. But I think that human belief is one of the strongest forces, one of the strongest like natural forces, at least in the human ecosystem. Because like a really good example I can give that kind of showcases this a little bit is the placebo effect. Like when people are doing drug tests and stuff and they do the controlled testing or whatever.
Just give you
what it's
like a
called.
sugar pill,
They'll give half of people a sugar pill and half of people not, and they'll tell everybody that it's the same thing. Not all the time, but there are cases where the people with the sugar pill, they're told what it does. They'll take the sugar pill, not knowing it's a sugar pill, and then what they're told is supposed to happen will actually happen.
100%, yeah.
And it's a sugar pill. It does nothing.
Yeah.
But the belief.
Oh yeah, yeah.
did something in the body, spiritually, chemically, whatever, where it drove the body to like there's stories
to
where
react as if it was in it.
yeah, I've heard stories on both fronts where it's like a person lived their whole life like not interacting with doctors and stuff, and then they kind of got sick a little later on in their life, and it wasn't super crazy. They went to the doctor identified something in them, and then they just fell apart and died, like in a matter of months, because as soon as they were told about it, they believed, whether it's true or not, they believed what was going on, and then they just fell apart. And then the inverse, much like the sugar pill example, people have been told, if you take this diet, it will help XYZ thing, and they start doing it, and then like, not that it's cured people per se. Again, I don't have specifics off the top of my head, but I think there are, if I'm remembering correctly, I think there are cases where people have been like, oh, you have cancer, you have 4 months to live, yada, 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 you try this thing. And then because they believed it so much and they did it almost like religiously, they went back after like 4 or 6 months, they went back and got scanned and checked. And like pretty much all of the, if it was cancer, all of the cancer's gone, because their belief in it was so strong that the body was able to just remove it, essentially.
I think that correlates with, like, I believe, like, I truly believe the same thing, that like your belief in something and like your mind is like an insane superpower, for lack of a better term, that like translates. My examples on that same front, or like why I believe it, is less on like the medical side, which I've heard stuff, and like I do believe it works the same way. But like even just like with happiness and like depression and stuff, that I've identified the people who have a very negative mindset, like it's the very like woe is me, like life sucks, everything goes wrong. You find those people, things are always going wrong. Yep. And people who, even in bad situations, are very just like, it'll be all right. Like, no, everything is good. Like things go right for them. Like even like that's a very simple example. Yeah, things just work out because like they truly believe everything is just going to be all right. And people who truly believe that life sucks and everything always goes wrong, and they're destined that things just, oh, I know, like life is just bad for me. Things always go wrong for me. Like if you truly believe that, I can tell you right now, life, everything will go bad for you if you truly believe it will. And then even like, like that's why I like, I'm very, I don't know, it kind of correlates with like, not that like don't look into like sicknesses and stuff, but like I'm very iffy on even just like hearing about, like, I don't like, a random example. You know Mr. Ball, on the YouTuber? He tells like horror stories on YouTube. He has a podcast. He's like one of the bigger, like, he just like just horror stories. He also has a podcast and YouTube channel where he tells medical horror stories. I don't listen to those because I don't want to even have like know what is out there in the world, like medically, that could, even if it's like this rare disease that could happen, if like it only happened to 5 people. I don't want it to be in here because I know if it's in here, if I dwell on it too long, it could, like, the less I can
it'll
know,
like manifest.
I don't want, like pre having a relationship with God, I was very into like manifesting. I have a book, I think it's in there, that I would write down the same sentence. I'm the first millionaire in my family. Money comes to me in abundance. Every day, 3 times, I would write that sentence, because I truly believed if my brain knows it, it'll become reality. My brain, you have to convince yourself of it. And now it kind of turned into like just trusting God and believing like if God knows it, it'll become the reality. But like I truly believe, like, and the reason I don't even not believe that manifesting is so strong, and I stopped writing that book, not because I don't believe manifestation works. Like I still, even now, I stopped doing it because I want to trust God and not do myself, because I believe manifesting works so well that like I might manifest this thing that isn't God's plan and end up where God doesn't want me, and it's in the wrong path, and lead myself down a path that I shouldn't be in. So it's like, I want that to happen, but I go to God with it, where I don't, because I believe manifestation so strong, I don't want to manifest this thing that isn't God's plan and have it come out and not work, because like I truly believe, like, if you can convince your mind of it, that'll become reality on any front. Whether it's like like when I used to do it with like wanting to manifest money, it's harder like you need to truly be convinced of it. That's where like, you're saying like people who like you have 4 months to live. Like this, so an old lady gets diagnosed. You have 4 months to live, and she's fully in her mind. It's like you're wrong. Like I'm not gonna die in 4 months. Like she truly believes that. Like she'll live further than that if she. And the same thing with the money. And like the reason like I feel like a lot of people would get turned off to like I'm gonna manifest $1 million. I like the same thing I would write. I'm the first millionaire in my family. Like people get turned off to it because I've been writing this every day for 10 years. It's like because you don't believe you're gonna like you can become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like that's like with manifest. Not even like I'm trying to preach manifestation because I want you should go to God with it, but with the health stuff, you don't you need to truly believe it. And a good example of that, again, not to preach but like when I was doing the I want to be the first millionaire in my family, I want to be the first millionaire in my family. I recognize like I'm saying this, I'm writing this, but in my heart, it just seems like we don't come from money. I don't know how I'm gonna make $1 million. I'm like I'm not convinced that this real. So I simplified it down. I went on and I got a screenshot of a Cash App with I think it was I forget what I started with. I think it was $1,000 or it was something small. It was something like I like that I've gotten before in my Cash App. It was I don't think I have because I've got a new phone now. I don't think I have it anymore.
I've seen that wallpaper where you had
Yeah,
like,
it was like $1,000 and it was like a Cash App that had like $1,000 in it, and I put it as my wallpaper, and because it was something that I like, I would have like I could like it was realistic. I truly believed. I was like, no, yeah, I'll have this money, and then within like a week, it was that amount of money was my Cash App, and I was like, oh shit, and then I found like I raised it to another amount, and within a week, like I raised it. The one that really like hit it for me was because the first one was like realistically like 2 videos get booked, this money will be in, so it's like that was a manifestation. That was just inevitably this money's gonna be there.
yeah, yeah.
So then when that one, like, I was working up to slowly convince myself, and then I raised it a little bit, and then that money was in there, and then the one that really hit was like I'll go a little higher. That like, okay, it was 20,000 was the one that convinced me. It was a Cash App with $20,000 in it, which is like was a little out of like I don't generate that much. Like if I saved and didn't spend money, I could make that much. But like it was far enough. Like I believed I could have it. And then right then it was like within like a week or two, I got approved for that first grant I got
Mm-hmm.
of $20,000.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like, oh shit. Like, and that's what really set in. Like, oh no, like I realized like, okay, this works, but I have to truly believe it. Like I
Mhm.
can't just be like $10 million
Yeah.
because like I don't believe I'm gonna have 10 million. Like I can do that if I know I truly believe it, which it's funny I say that now because as of right now, I have a screenshot of my current bank with $10 million in it
That's why I have that.
because because I had to build up to a point where like I look at this and I go, this is like it's not. I look at this and go, wow, it would be nice to have that. I look at it as like, oh no, yeah, I'm gonna have that. And now it's even reinforced more because it's like I don't just have to. I didn't just convince myself of it. It's a feeling of like the number 10 million for some reason. Not for some reason. It was to me. It was God speaking to me because I know how many lives I can impact with that money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like just the belief in like I no longer go like have to convince myself. I just go to God with it
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, like if I set this plan of $10 million, like that might not be God's plan. He might be laughing at me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it might be wrong, or the again like you like kind of go into like manifesting your way out of what is actually God's plan that's right for you, and like not even like going the wrong path, like kind of going back to our point of like you make a plan and God laughs at you. Some people take that negative. It's like I had this idea for this job, like I wanted this job, but I didn't get it. Why would God do this to me? And like He laughs at you when your plans go bad. He could be laughing at you for the wrong. Like I could be picturing $10 million, and God's laughing at my plan of $10 million because He knows I'm gonna have $100 million.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be the opposite. He could be laughing at your plan because his plan is so much greater.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm very much in the same vein that you are when it comes to the beliefs with medical stuff. I mean, I not knocking like we have crazy good technology, unbelievable medical stuff,
Yeah.
like cured tons of stuff. But I'm very much of the same vein where I don't really want to know about medical stuff and whatnot. Like to give a really recent real world example, and I don't like speaking on certain things a lot of the time because I don't like even just giving the little bit of energy to it because
It's
then it
very your
could.
words are very powerful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not to cut you off, but like the one when we went to church, the first time you went to church, when we brought you to church, the whole sermon was about the power of speaking it in the positive sense of like if you have anxiety on something,
Mm-hmm.
the best thing you could do is just speak it out loud. Because we spoke about it briefly earlier on how like your quote of like sometimes you can know it, but sometimes you need to
You
hear
need to
it.
hear it.
That is that thing of like you like the whole sermon was about like you're faced with this anxiety, but just saying out loud, I have anxiety about not paying my bills this month.
Mm-hmm.
Just that power of saying out loud the thing you know, and that kind of is like you're saying, because like even if it's not somebody else saying it to you, you're saying it out loud, so you're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
So here, like vocal, your words have a lot of power. So as you're saying,
Real quickly, just to add to that, we just had that on Sunday. I've been saying what I said for years, way before I started coming into a
and
Christian
then
faith.
hearing somebody else say
It's
it,
crazy.
yeah.
But to a real recent real world example of like my not like rigidity to gathering or gaining information and knowledge and stuff, but to not want to pursue certain like medical stuff because I know exactly how, at least to me, I know exactly how these things work, like in a mystical sense, right?
Yeah.
Is when we took Taco to the vet on Monday, they ran an X-ray to see what was going on with him and see what he had in internally. And again, I'm very hesitant to speak on this, but it goes with the conversation because in speaking on it, I'm afraid it gives it energy and yada yada, and then negativity will happen. But God's got a plan. That the doctor comes back with the X-ray and shows me and Mom, and she explains he's got a bunch of crystals in his stomach or his bladder or whatever, which is much like kidney stones. And then he's got a blockage, and that they have to act quickly because he's in kidney failure and yada yada yada. So that's what they did. They dealt with the blockage and they gave him fluids and they flushed his system and then they took care of him and now he's at home, seemingly living his best life. Burrito's not very happy, but the X-ray also showed a really big mass in his system, in his stomach, like massive, and it was like it's pushing all of his organs to one side. And from an X-ray, you can't really tell what it is. It could be cancerous. It could just be a mass, right? And she offered that after we do all the treatment with him, if we wanted to, we could pay for another ultrasound of some sort, and then testing cells from the mass to identify what it is. And me and Mom went back and forth for like 2 or 3 days about it. And Mom was more like hell-bent on wanting to get it tested so we know what it is. And I wasn't like hyper opposed to it, but I was very much not for doing it. Because one, going to our topic of just giving it the energy, and if we identify what it is and say it's cancer, as soon as we know that it's cancer, whether we do treatment or not, I can tell you right now, Taco will probably die really soon. And two, to test the cells, you have to like poke the thing and get cells from it. And in poking the thing and getting the cells from it, it will then like open it up to the rest of his system. And if it is like bad for him, by releasing it to the rest of his system, that will kill him also really fast. So I'm not saying that if you have something wrong with you or that there's a massive mass in your system that you shouldn't get it looked at. I think that everybody should weigh their own options and do what they believe is best for them and their family and their loved ones and their pets and stuff. But as of right now, I think that we're not going to get it checked because I would rather wait for a while. It doesn't seem to bother him. It doesn't seem to hurt him. He's obviously he's had it for a while because it's a sizable mass in his system. But my biggest fear is by interacting with it and giving it a lot of energy and attention, it will like rapidly decrease his health and he won't be around as long as he probably would if we just left it be.
Yeah.
Not to say that, I could be wrong and it is really bad and, he might not make it much longer, which breaks my heart even to think about. But that goes to what you were saying with the medical stuff.
I mean, again, not to be the person who I would again was literally just saying earlier how I was so not against, but like so like that sounds great, but like I got to deal with this real world thing. It's like go to God with it and ask God. It's like I don't like even like because when we first found out about Taco, I've prayed for Taco ever since. Like
Mm-hmm.
and wholehearted. I even texted to mom like when she told me she was like we were texting and she was like doesn't look good. There's like and I was like she told me about the blockage and then she mentioned the kidney failure. You know she was like he's not doing good, and like I wholeheartedly I prayed and after praying I just wholeheartedly had this feeling like this is like all right, he gets out in 2 days, like this will be he'll be good. And then like the next day, I asked mom, I was like, how's he doing? And she was like, his levels are almost back to normal. Like he's,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, like because wholeheartedly, I believed and I put the faith in that like God will take care of it and like go to God with it, not even just like go to Him to pray, like to protect Taco and to like
Mm-hmm.
watch him, but go to Him to give you a sign that and that you could understand, like that you wholeheartedly, like undeniably, like that's why I like that prayer so much. It's not just like God, show yourself to me, because if you just say that, it's like He might show yourself, but you might not know. Like God, show yourself to me in a way that undeniably, like I, like me personally, undeniably can't refuse that this is
Mm-hmm.
you. God, undeniably show me a sign and like tell me if we should test this, if that is your what you want, or if we shouldn't, and I like and not, and then He'll show Himself, to show that answer to wait like to
Yeah.
you that like the I like the good example of like flip a coin, heads heads I do this, heads I don't. Flip the coin and not when it lands, like when you as soon as you flip that coin, you internally in your heart you know I want this to hit heads or I want this to go to
Yep.
tails.
That's what you
You
do.
got your answer
Yep.
before catch it. Don't even look at what it lands. Like you just got your answer. Like you'll get that answer from God and then you just all right like if you truly believe this is what God told me the answer is, that is the answer you should go with. And you gotta like if you truly have that faith in God and like you ask Him and you truly believe whatever that sign is to you, that was that sign God spoke to me. You gotta almost be okay with the other like not knowing the other side. It's
Mm-hmm.
and like to me that's a true belief in God's plan. It's like He told me that this is the answer. I'm not even thinking of like if He told you no, we shouldn't test this. You don't even think about oh
The what
what
ifs.
if we did like it doesn't
Yeah.
because the God told me to do this and like whatever the outcome of that decision is what it's supposed to be. And it's kind of relating out of the medical stuff. It's like going back to the job thing. It's like I really want this job. I applied for 10 jobs. I really want this one specifically. God, please speak to me on just show me, give me a sign undeniably that like which path like is the right job. And
Mm-hmm.
then you go to that job and you don't get it.
Yep.
You just
And
you just got your sign, and
there's
you
your
need to be
answer.
fully like we're humans. You're allowed to be like upset that you didn't get this job you want, but having the true faith in God, it's like being upset that like damn I wanted this job, but knowing God is Almighty and like that is the right path because we're humans and like you're not supposed like you'll never know. We're not supposed to know God's path. And like
Mm-hmm.
you're allowed to be upset that that wasn't the outcome, and like that to me is why I think religion is so great. Like at least Christianity and God, because it's like you're not wrong for being upset with God's plan. You're allowed to be upset and angry at God for His plan, but still have that faith that you know His plan is good. It's just
Mm-hmm.
you're early on in the plan. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't know the plan. The same thing. It's like I don't know. Like even with like dad dying, it's like
I was waiting for you to finish
it's
because
a
I was gonna
perfect
bring that up.
it's a perfect thing of like I don't go why would God why would God do this to me and take my dad away? Like
Yep.
I'm angry that like God's plan has him taking dad away so long,
Mm-hmm.
but I no longer question on like I'm upset about it and I'm angry that God would do that, but I trust that I fully trust that like it's His plan.
Yep.
And like years later now, it's like not that like as a human, I would like I say it all the time, like I would trade all of this just to have dad back, just to
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to spend my life and have my kids know my dad. I'd trade this whole company and everything. But like I know God's planning because we're living it and now we're 3 years into it, and it's like I know the man I am now, the mindset I have, the ability to just be the person I am and
4
create this
years.
thing, huh?
4
4
years.
years. It's like is because the strength I got from losing dad, and it's like not like I hate to even articulate it. I think it all the time. It's like I'm almost thankful of Dad for passing away that he did, because he gave me the strength and the knowledge to be able to now have this life. Damn, I just lost that camera. To have this life that I do now. Let me start that SD card.
Yeah.
You can talk because your camera's on. You
Yeah.
have a point on that.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the whole dad thing because like I vividly remember like every moment from leading up to his passing through maybe 3 hours after I was told. Um, I remember where I was. I remember who I was talking to. I remember exactly what I did. I remember exactly how I reacted. I remember everything because like it was a big thing. Like I always saw Dad as like my best friend. You know, like as in his later years, he wasn't around nearly as much as he was when we were young. Kind
I mean, we
of
can
draw it to
talk
an end, but
whatever, but
I think we've
feel
been talking
like,
for like 2 hours
yeah,
now.
but like we're having the
This is
conversation.
a crazy one. This is a
Yeah.
crazy.
As you were saying, continue.
Um,
Mom and
so like mom would always, I don't know, I'll just fix
yeah.
that, but mom would kind of play almost like the devil's advocate and jump to like she'd hear what I have to say and then be like, oh, almost like, oh, well, what about the other side of things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what about the other person's opinion and stuff? And oddly enough, Billy used to do that with me a lot. Whereas like I'd come to her with fears and worries and anxieties and stuff, and she would kind of just be like, well, what about the other side? And I'm like, what about my side? Like,
Yeah.
I'm coming to you right now because I'm having a problem internally and I wish to at least vocalize it and get it out so I can work through it. And in me trying to do that, you're just like telling me to shut up and think about other people. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Like, I'll do that. Let me help me get through what I like. If I can't come to you, who am I supposed to go to?
Yeah.
And Dad was really good at being that for me.
Yeah.
Um, and then when he passed, um, I he got sick and in with my conversations with Chris, I was able to identify that he was probably gonna die, like the day before, and then he calls me like 30-second conversation. Yeah, Dad died, and then hung up because he was going through it, and then I think he went. I don't know what he did. He dealt with it in his own ways, um, and then I grieved and I cried and I was upset. I don't think I was ever angry though, and I don't ever think. I don't think I ever like questioned why or whatever. Um, I kind of just like almost instantly fell into like just acceptance because like leading up to that point, much like conversation we've had previously, um, there's never been anything in my life where it couldn't change, right? So like you have a breakup, you guys could get back together.
Yeah.
Someone dies, that's it.
Yeah.
Like
They're
there's no going back.
yeah.
There's no changing it. And I don't have a lot of recollection of what like was leading up to that in the months prior or even the year and change prior because I mean like that year leading up to it was like a dark time for me. But in that moment of like I don't know the word, like it was like finite, like not finite, it was like unchangingness of it. I just like, to use the terminology for our topic here, I just like gave myself to God and was just like, it is what it is. Like there's nothing I
Yeah.
can do about it. I'm gonna let myself feel sad and blah blah blah. And actually, funny enough, days before that, I was in conversation to go work at the tattoo shop, and probably within the first 2 or 3 hours, I had then called Joe and was like, "Hey, just so you're aware, because I'm gonna be weird. My dad just died. He knew Dad, and he immediately was like, because I was supposed to start working that very next day. He died on Sunday, I believe.
Oh,
I was
really?
supposed to start working on Monday. He was like, "Don't even come in tomorrow. Take a couple days. You can start the next week or whatever." And he said that to me, and my response to him was, "Nope, I'll be there tomorrow. I will see you at 11. I'm going to show up." And I said that not out of like, sure, maybe a little bit out of respect for wanting to start on a good foot and everything at a new job, but part of it was like, I know that I need something to kind of keep myself going a little bit. And what else am I going to do? I'm just going to sit at home and be sad and grieve and be lonely. It's like, no,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna just jump into this thing. And that was I don't remember where this tangent kind of comes from, but it it was one of those things where it's like it kind of just opened the doors for me to just my acceptance. It's like how you keep saying, just like God has a plan and accept God's plan and whatever. It's my the terminology I think I always used in my head was like everything is going to be exactly whatever it's going to be. Like there is really no changing. Like we have free will to make decisions and do things and change things, but in all reality, at the end of the day, we only have so much power, and no matter what you do, our free will kind of only goes so far. So like, if you apply for a job, sticking with this example, I don't have the free will to give myself the job. If I don't get the job, I have the free will to be a little bit persistent about reaching out to the company and seeing if maybe I can get another interview, and maybe why didn't I get the job, or maybe I'm just missed the slot. Maybe next year they'll hire more people or whatever. And say that's the case. Say maybe I just missed the mark, and somebody else was slightly better at the interview and they got that last position, and the next year I can go again. If I go next year and apply, I might not get the job. So my free will only goes so far as I can keep trying to get the job. But if what is set in motion is that I'm not supposed to get the job, I could apply every year and never get the job because I'm not supposed to. So like, if I didn't get the job, dad didn't die. Oh, did die. And like, I just fully accept what it is. If I am supposed to get that job come time next year, maybe I didn't go and reach out and say I started doing my own thing for the time period in a year. If I actually was supposed to get the job, they'll call me that next year and be like, you don't even have to come for an interview. Just come in, come talk to the boss, yada, yada, yada. And then I'll be given the job. All right. So it's like God has a plan. Like life is kind of written in the stars, if you will. It's just coming to accepting life. It's just like, life is a crazy wild ride, and it's just taking things as it comes. It's like, just living life and taking the punches. You know? It was very deep, and I think that really helped kickstart a lot of my like spiritual journey, because like leading up to that I wasn't spiritual at all, and I was around some people who were um religious to a degree. Like not many of Billy's family was very religious. Her grandmother was Christian, I think, maybe Catholic, but I want to say she was Christian. She went to church a lot, read the Bible, very much so, had a good relationship with Jesus. Um, Tried to take the family to church when she could, didn't really force it upon people. She kind of forced the kids to go because they were young, and tried to like open them to the faith. But it that to me was the catalyst, and it goes to the talking point that we have sometimes, where it's like everybody should at some point go through not a traumatic experience, but deal with something that kind of almost forces you to become open-minded and just accept things for what they are. Because like you said a little while ago, is if you sit there and just dwell on the negativity, like my life sucks, it's always bad, everybody always hates me, and I never have any money, so obviously you're gonna always have that. But if those are the like circumstances of your present life, and you just like, all right, people just keep leaving me. Like I think most people that come into my life end up leaving me, and a lot of the times I think that the people who leave me, it's not because of things that I do. And I can give you two good examples. One I can articulate on, the other one I won't articulate on. Um, and there's a lot of times, not recently because I'm very accepting of it, but a lot of times it's like I get frustrated that people just seem to disappear from my life. And it's frustrating because a lot of times it's like close people, but it's just accepting of it. Like my relationship with Dave kind of just disappeared after a single conversation, that the conversation went one way. Come to find out months later, it actually didn't go that way after being told it did. And the other example is my falling out with our brother. Like, uh, ironically enough, I was talking to Jesus about it last night while I was laying in bed. Because it does bother me a lot. He was like my best friend for like the last 6 to 10 years. We spent a lot of time together. We have a lot of interests and so on and so forth. But I identified a lot of, I would classify more as negative traits in him, and a lot of things that our personalities would clash over. Like he would say some pretty crazy stuff to people online whenever he would just get like frustrated and stuff, like some crazy stuff. Um, and I got a dark sense of humor, so I would think it's kind of funny to a degree. But tension started, I guess, got a little high, and he kept having like a recurring pattern of behaviors with me that I am identifying as almost subconscious. Whether he was doing them intentionally or not, I don't think he was. I just think it's part of his personality. And as time had progressed, I don't think that they were being amplified, but to me, it was just more and more like every day it was like adding a piece of paper. And after a while, one sheet of paper is like nothing. And then, a piece of paper every minute after a year, that's a lot of pieces of paper. That's really heavy. And so my behaviors towards him started getting a little like frustrated with him, and I would be short and I would be kind of rude with him because I don't like being confrontational. And some interactions we had leading up to our fallout, I was able to identify that whether I voiced my opinions to him on what was going on or not, he didn't care because in one specific conversation, I guess I was really being a dick to him, and he asked me what my problem was. And when I told him what the problem was, he told me that it wasn't a big deal. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like, I don't matter to you whatsoever. And then things seemed, kind of okay, and we were playing some games, and I politely asked him not to do a thing, and the very next day he did exactly what I asked him not to do, and I was mad, but then I am self-aware enough where I didn't address it immediately because I saw how frustrated I was in that moment, and a couple hours went by, and then he texted me, so I texted him back, and I addressed what he did as politely as I could because in that period of time between waking up and seeing the text message and then my response, I did the frustration thoughts, and then I was like, how do I go about addressing this without turning this into an argument? Because I know that he just like jumps right into an argument. I was like, how do I best tackle this without really upsetting our relationship? And what I came to was exactly what I did, and come to find out that pretty much no matter what I did, what the outcome was to be whatever the outcome was.
Yeah.
And I was very calm and collected, and I was like, hey, last night I asked you not to do this and you did this. And then I also, on top of that, I addressed what he sent me, and I was like, it's cool. What you showed me, like, was cool. Because it was. I thought it was cool stuff. But it was what I told him not to do. And his immediate response was just guns blazing, just balls to the wall,
Yeah.
personal attacks, just berating me, blah, 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 blah. And I tried, and I was heated because I don't like confrontation. So when it happens, like, I elevate. And I tried everything in my power to keep myself as calm in the interactions, even though I was heated. And I stayed as far away from personal attacks as I could. I tried to address everything he was saying to try and counter it, to show that what he's saying is lies. And it's like, this is what you want to be the perception of what is going on. And we went back and forth for a little while, and then now we don't talk anymore, and like, it sucks because like I love the dude. He's my brother. Like I spent I'd say the last 10 years or so, because I'm 28. So it's probably like somewhere between 8 and 10 years. We played the same games. We have the same interests. We like the same shows. We like, talk all the time. We hang out a bunch, yada, yada, yada. And it sucks because like he's a brother and he was a best friend, and things happen. And it's one of those things where it's like, but that's not as like hot and cold as like dad died.
Yeah.
So like me and Chris could end up,
Yeah.
reconnecting and yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada.
But yeah, kind of going to. I mean, yeah, like it goes to the point that you were saying about. It's like you just gotta like accept like life is just life, and you can't like the plan is set how it's gonna be, so it's just gonna like you said, no matter what you would have said, that was gonna be the outcome. And then kind of going to, like we said, it's not like God did that to you, like why did God ruin this relationship? like between us. Like, he didn't do it to you. He did it for you for a reason, and not even like you could hear that and be like, so you could just remove that relationship from your like. There's a reason for it, whether so you could gain a new perspective or learn something. And he did it for Chris. He didn't do it to Chris. He did so Chris could learn something. Um, and I mean, yeah, part of like just kind of accepting it is sort of like I think going and just like praying that like that the earlier prayer I said that because I after Law did it for me, I started doing it for myself, and now I do it for other people. And it's funny enough to kind of relate it. Uh, Law did it for me, and then when I told her that you were going to come to church with us, she told me that she had been praying that God spoke to you and came to you.
He's been speaking to me, brother.
And then so I think adding Chris into a prayer once a day, praying that like God shows Himself in a way that only Chris could understand. Maybe I'll just add, I mean, his name, whatever, that our brother can
I
understand.
mean, you give your full name, and you've been
Yeah.
given my full name. So it doesn't really matter.
That only he could understand and show, and God will show him the reason for that happening. And if it's meant to be, because again, it's not in our power, rekindling that relationship how it's supposed to be rekindled, not out of like you necessarily just being like, I'm gonna go apologize to him and go on how I feel just to rekindle that relationship, because that's kind of taking it in your own hands, but trusting God's plans. And if it comes up where you guys end up talking for a certain however, and then whatever, but like and now I'm gonna add that into my day, like when I pray that like your guys' relationship gets rekindled, because like I've learned that the power of praying and just again vocalizing it. You could think like how much like it hurts that you don't have that relationship, but just purely putting it out there, like God, like please rekindle this relationship, and just asking it and like putting it like out into God's hands. It's like you said, you're not anti you guys rekindling relationship, but you're not just gonna go back on like and like just cave and just support his mindset just so you guys can have that relationship.
Yeah.
It has to like so like just like putting that on in God's hands of like I really want this relationship. Please rekindle this relationship, and then just like kind of giving it to him. Um, but yeah, I think the power of like just like again putting that out of your hands and like because it goes hand in hand of like just accepting life is what it is the same as like just trusting that God's got the plan, because they're hand in hand. One is just saying it without putting God in the label. It's like just trusting that like the plan is the plan. But yeah, I definitely think I mean yeah, like after learning the power, like because I'm the ultimate testimony to myself of like Law would all the time say to me like I heard her just praying, and she would tell me how she prays that God just speaks to me, and I like when she'd say it in the beginning, I'd be like, good luck. I don't know how that's gonna when he's gonna come down from freaking the sky. But then look at me here. Now I'm here, and it's like, wow, he did speak to me in a way like I can't even yet articulate what that way is. Like obviously, I have those examples of those my friends, but like I don't even couldn't articulate to somebody why I just fully know the power of it. But like he did, it definitely worked, and I think the more you build that trust almost with God, that like you come to Him with your problems, it works like even quicker to go to kind of correlate, not to like sidetrack from this the whole thing about like with our brother, but to correlate to me like the day I got the why, I discovered the why 2 days ago when that spoke to me. I sent this long like I came here, I wrote about it, and I sent this long Snapchat to Law, just venting that exactly what I just said here about like I figured out my why, like, and I just explained it all to her. And then we talked later on the phone that day, and she was like, "That's crazy because I just looked at the time that I sent." This is her. She said, "I just looked at the time you sent the Snapchat to me, and I like an hour prior, she was literally praying about that same like the same thing I've been struggling with about like me being in this industry that's so unholy, and like please like like show Corey like why he's in it, like and she was having the same dilemma of like me being in this industry that's unholy and us building this faith with God. And like not an hour later, I mean it probably was because I had sent the Snapchat after it came to me, and like damn near
Yeah.
when she prayed it, that
It
revelation
happened.
came to me. And it's just like crazy like to see in action, like that right there. I could tell that to somebody and they'd be like coincidence, but to me that is undeniably God, and like that's God again showing His power in a way that only to me, I mean to you it might like, but to me wholeheartedly like wow, like right there that is proof that God's powerful. Like that is just goes back to the prayer of like show yourself to me in only way that will only make sense to me, because to me that is undeniable, like the power of belief and like just coming to Him with the problems. Like I spent I don't know how long for years worried about stressing over that just in my brain. But the day I sat in my car and out loud articulated that, I had the revelation, like just like taking it out of my own head and my own hands and just putting it into His, to kind of correlate that back to like the dealing with like losing dad, or like the relationship with our brother falling out. Yeah, just like trusting that like it is what it is, and like putting it out like there's a reason to this. I might not know what it is, but whether it's so I can learn something or whether it's so he can learn something, gain a new perspective, because it might be the same thing of like obviously we haven't like I don't really talk to him much, like we'll send memes back and forth, but like you haven't spoke to him, so like for all we know this could be weighing on him just as much, and it's just another thing like dealing with dad weighed on him, but he didn't deal with it, and then this is like and it could be all
Yeah.
adding up to like this is what's causing him to then find something that's bigger than him.
Yeah, it's very profound. It's very deep. One hell of a conversation today.
Yeah.
One hell of a long conversation.
Yeah, that
today.
might have been the longest recorded conversation I've ever done out of all like the almost 50 episodes of the other podcast, and then yeah, this one was like we were talking about in I think the second episode, where it's just like you get into just like the flow state of a conversation, and it's like you forgot. I didn't even realize we were sitting here for like over 2 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, it's about to be midnight. It's about to.
Yeah, I figured to kind of wrap it up here. Like I said, when we left, like literally, when we walked out of the doors on Sunday of church after service finished, I was walking behind you and Law, and you guys were like chit chatting a little bit, and then after we got like halfway through the parking lot, I was like overwhelmed with like wanting to record the next episode of the podcast, because just something inside of me was like a fire was lit under my ass, and I just felt like the next conversation that we'd have would obviously be akin to the conversation that we just had.
Yeah.
And I think it was important for us individually. I think it's important just to put it out there into the world. It's kind of crazy the time frame of when all of this is kind of happening.
Yeah.
But I figured that when we sat down and had this conversation, whether it was today or it was going to be on Monday or on Wednesday or whatever day it ended up being, I figured it was going to be a crazy long conversation, and we go into a lot of different avenues and stuff. And again, like I was saying I'm going to say last week because these come out weekly. When we were saying last week, when I get into these super deep conversations, like it's like my favorite thing in life is just to be able to talk about things and articulate things, because then like I'll go home tonight and over the next couple of days I'll probably process information that I didn't realize I was processing, and you'll process information and yada yada yada. And I'm sure anyone who listened might take something away from both of us or either of us talking about the different aspects and stuff of faith, and they'll process stuff like that's the hope, that's the goal or whatever. But at the same time, it's it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I like the way these 3 episodes now. It almost feels like, I mean, more so from the second episode and this one, it feels almost like one conversation. Like it's like a conversation, and then we kind of took a week, or obviously they'll drop weekly, but like we separate for a week, and then we think about it, and we come back and just pick that same conversation up, and it just like feels like this ongoing conversation that's flowing, versus like where like the other podcasts I do, it's more just like conversation based around something. Conversation based. This one is more just like
there's a flow to it.
Yeah, there's like a thread kind of connecting it, and like an ongoing conversation, which is like it's pretty cool to like. I like how that's kind of flowing.
Yeah, I mean, something funny. Actually, when I took Grandma, I was talking to her, and I was talking about the podcast. I mentioned to her once before.
I gotta send it to them. I feel like I sent it to Mom because I figured like watching both of us talk, I feel like she'd just get a kick out of it.
I think Grandma would enjoy it.
Yeah, just purely, even just out of like, because Grandma's a thinker, so she might like the actual conversation, but purely just out of like us just sitting and talking and getting to watch it, I think Grandma would just like it.
But she said, because she said we've had conversations in the past, and I've talked about podcasting in the past with her,
Uh,
and she's always said like, oh, you should do a podcast, and you should, because me and her have deep conversations, but a lot of them is me having a deep conversation and her listening.
yeah.
'Cause she's open minded, but she doesn't really have much input to add when it comes to like super deep stuff. And when had her in the car this afternoon, and I was talking to her about it, she was like, "We've said that you should do this and blah blah." blah. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny, but
Well, yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. I want to say that's like a little over 2 hours.
yeah."
All right, until next week. Until we pick up the conversation next week. Appreciate anybody who watched this far. We got like I don't know what's a random word that if you watch this far, comment this. I don't know.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. If you got this far, comment pineapple because I'm curious if anyone watched this entire episode.
Yeah, I'm
So,
curious.
let's see if anyone comment pineapple. But yeah, if not, well, hopefully, like I mean, there's a lot of like I just did a podcast episode on the other podcast, not to just row. Like 2 days ago with an artist, and we finished. I was saying how like I really like the podcast because like I like that there's a lot of like I want the podcast that bring value. I guess like that one. That's why I took some breaks on it, and I don't do weekly as much because like if there isn't something to talk about, I don't want to just force it because I want it to bring value. Um, and I know that the long form podcast, like I look at the views, I know how many people watch it. It's not a lot compared to I like that from the podcast we can make so many clips because like the long testimony I had, I think that would be really powerful for somebody. But chances are they're not going to watch the first hour to get to that point. So that's why I like the clips because we can get out the things that like there's probably something at the 2 hour mark that would really resonate with somebody, but they'll never hear it because they're not going to watch that first hour. But it's cool because like we could clip stuff and just post the clips that could hopefully speak to somebody. So
Yeah,
that's why
pretty
I really like the podcast because like I started the first one as like a clip farm. It's like I want to say a bunch of stuff, but like I'm not even thinking like I just need to do it somewhere, and I don't want to set up a camera multiple times to say
Yeah.
these one things. So I'll just say it all at once, and then we'll just clip it all.
Yeah, it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Appreciate you guys watching. Tune in every week. I guess on Wednesdays we drop on Wednesdays. All the links to like our personal pages and everything else is in the description. So if you're curious about like anything, like we talk about wave change and talk about stuff, if you happen to find this and you aren't finding it like through the other stuff I do or whatever, you could go check it out down in the description. But yeah, comment pineapple if you got this far.